Alright, so this is my third video for the channel. I'm going to be going over... Last video I did AMC chart. This one I'm going to basically be doing my other positions. So that would be... My next largest position is IWM, Boeing, and crypto. Probably just Bitcoin and Ethereum. So let's start with the IWM. So I'm going to turn off all of my indicators. Just keep it simple for now. And this one can stay. I'm going to take this off. Alright, so this is a monthly. I do not want to look at it on the monthly. What I do want to look at it is on the weekly. So this is a chart for the IWM. This is the Russell 2000. Basically small cap stocks trade on here. So these are going to be your more volatile stocks. But basically what we have here is the weekly trend. It's actually been doing really well, even as far back as, Anyway, so what we have here is pretty much like a bull flag formation here. So we have, this is basically the flagpole. If I use this, I'm just going to put that like that. So you basically have that flagpole here, and then you have this little channel that we've been trading in as far back as, when is this? February 1st, which is actually, funny enough, when I started my account with Robinhood. So a lot of people are watching this chart in terms of a breakout, and what you have here is you have this kind of defined range on the top, you have this defined range on the bottom, and this week we actually broke out. In my position, my IWM position, I started my buying October 22nd, and I've been buying 5 shares kind of like every 3 days, for the most part, kind of averaging into my position. So the reason why I knew it was a good time to buy was a few things. So here you have this on RSI on the weekly. You have actually a really clean descending trend line here that was recently broken on October 11th, or the week. This is a weekly, so the week of October 11th. And there was follow through the week of the 18th, and now we're actually November 1st, the week of November 1st. But if it was really the MACD down here at the bottom that let me know to start opening my position in October 22nd, which is like right around here, was you can see that these bars were shrinking, and before we had this cross, like I know this, like this candle hasn't closed yet for the week because it's only a Monday, so we have 4 more days, or it says here 3 days and 19 hours until this candle closes, but as of today, it's a green bar on the histogram, and it has crossed over. So the reason I needed to start opening my position was that these bars were shrinking, this cross pretty much looked imminent, and this is a weekly chart, so any cross on a weekly chart, I mean, this thing could run for weeks. So if you look at the time that it took this chart to develop was, the start of the flagpole is like in October, and we're back in October, end of October. So this took a whole year to play out. So in technical analysis, normally what you want to do is you want to take the length of the flagpole and basically double it to see like your price target. So if I take this from the breakout that we had this week so far, you can see here, this descending level, this descending trend line here, we actually closed outside of it. Now the week's not over, so we could pop back underneath it, but for now, this is a breakout. And if you take this trend line, you put, or this flagpole, and you put it here, I mean, 320, that would pretty much give you a 50% gain from now until next year, if that's kind of how you want to look at it. So anyway, that's the reason that I've been averaging into my position in the IWM, and I will continue to do so. I will buy some more tomorrow, or actually maybe midweek I'll do some buying, but I would actually be, in this case, I'd be averaging up because my position is already, is already up 3%, which is pretty good for an index like this. But I would continue averaging up because I think that this is just such a good looking chart. I know a lot of people are looking at it, and like when too many people are looking at a chart, there's the potential for like a fake out breakout. But I think it's also worth noting that what led to this initial kind of thing was just the break of, yeah, this trend line here, you have that. So basically we're trading underneath this, and this is the COVID plunge. And right when we came back up here, we broke out and we never looked back. So that's my trade on the IWM. The next one I want to go over was crypto. Oh, Boeing, and then I'll switch to crypto. So let's go to Boeing. Alright, so I haven't looked in this chart in a while. So let me see what I can clean up here. This is the weekly. What does the daily look like? Actually, the weekly's fine. So what do we have? I do want to keep this on here. I'll just keep it on here. Hopefully it's not too busy for you guys to look at. I'll try to make clear what I'm trying to denote on this chart. So this white line, I don't know why it's floating like this. Is it more clear on the daily? No, it's not more clear on the daily. I'm on log scale, so if I unlog it, oh, okay. If I unlog this chart, then this is a trend line. All right, that makes more sense. So this white trend line is a touch here, and kind of bounced just shy of a touch here. So that's what the white line is doing. This yellow line here was a trend from this low to this bounce to this bounce, which you can see we actually broke below and then kind of skyrocketed up. So yeah, we broke below. This is a descending trend line here. So this is kind of my buy entry on Boeing was when we broke this downward level and we were getting close to this trend line. I felt like there was a really good chance that we kind of break up like we did. I wasn't confident enough in it to play options on it because I try not to buy options. I try to sell them on stocks that I don't mind owning. But I did buy one share down. Actually, I think I bought it on this candle here. My average price is for Boeing $213. So I ended up buying it somewhere around here. The reason I bought it was because I took this fib extension level and I took it from this low right here to this high up here, and we're kind of getting to this 0.786, and you can see there's a bounce here, there's a bounce here, there's pretty much a bounce here, even though we broke through a little bit, and even, yeah, actually these are the three. So I felt pretty good about picking Boeing up around 210. I still feel good about it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this for now, and I'm gonna, so when I was charting this back here, you can see I have this descending wedge, basically. See, this is the top descending trend line, this is the bottom. You can see it broke right up, and from here, I didn't play this, but if I did, which I'd already charted on my chart, my entry would have been like, what is this, 234? I guess in theory, bottom to top is 10%, which in options, this took place in the span of 12 days. So if you bought a month out, you got 10% move. That's probably like 400, 500% in options. But anyway, I don't need this descending wedge anymore because that already played out. And what you can, this also already played out, so I can take that off. I will take these clouds off so it's easier to see. So now what we're looking at is basically like a descending channel. So you have touch, 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 touch. We haven't come to the bottom of this channel yet, which is good because I'm hoping that we break out of the top side of this channel. And so if I play this out, we're at 214. Top of this channel somewhere in the next week or so is 220, 222, and then I don't see why we could not just continue. Let me go back to the weekly. Continue. Oh, it actually looks pretty good on the weekly. So continue this uptrend of you have a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, a high. As long as we don't break this low here, which is 190, then I'm pretty bullish on Boeing. And from my entry price, which is pretty much right here, I could buy more tomorrow and it wouldn't affect my average cost at all. But from here to the bottom of this is 10%. So your stop loss is 10% if you want to trade it that way. And your potential gain would be, up to here, the top of this thing, because lower low or a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So you are assuming that you would break this higher high here. And if you bought in here, you're looking at a gain of 30%. So that's 3-to-1 risk to reward, which is pretty good. Boeing's a good company to hold long term anyway, so I'm not really stressing if it doesn't play out. I can average down, or if it just ends up being just a trade for me, which for right now it is just a trade, then I could absorb a small loss and be done. So that's my Boeing analysis. Let's see, we're at 11 minutes. I don't want these videos to be longer than 20 minutes maximum. So that's Boeing. I have one share, and I'll probably pick up a couple more tomorrow because I like this bullish engulfing candle, at least so far on the weekly. Things can change, but on the daily, I'm sure it's... I mean, that's a strong looking candle right there. And from where it bounced, actually, right here, 204.45, which is actually just exactly the low of this candle. Let's see, the low of this candle is 204.80, and the low of this candle is 204.60. So within 20 cents, it bounced from this spot. So I'm hoping that at least if you were trading options, you could take profits somewhere on this descending trend line. I know options today were up. I mean, let's just look at that. Trade options. You want to buy calls. Percent change. Yeah, today's options. I mean, weeklies. You probably wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend having weeklies. So if you bought like a month out to the end of the month, these contracts were still up. 30, 40, 50, 70%. It looks like around 60 to 80%. So that's some pretty solid gains. And if we go touch the top of that trend line, I'd imagine that these calls, from the moment you bought them, would be up around probably 150 to 250% by then. So anyway, let's move over to crypto. I'll just do Ethereum. Oh my goodness. Alright. It looks a lot worse than it actually is. I wish I could hide all these purple boxes at the same time. I don't really know how to do that. So I'll just do my analysis on the bigger time frame. Let's go to the weekly. Basically on the weekly here, you have these descending RSI. You have this breakout right here on the week of October 18th, 11th, the 18th. So that was actually corresponded with the break of this kind of trend line from here to here. So we broke out. And that corresponds with this RSI breakout. So, and this break of the all-time high. So this was actually an excellent place for me to go long, which I did go long on Ethereum. Oh my goodness, what's happening? You can see my average cost is 4,000, which is exactly when we broke this all-time high of about, right around, when we broke out here, that was around 3,900, and I got in around 4,000. So I did buy this. I mean, obviously we're trading at 4,300, 4,400, so I'm up 10%, 8%, and wish I put in more. But you have to look at how big this run is. You know, like the start of this descending trend line here starts pretty much from here, from January. And so this took about a year to play out. I'm not saying it's going to take another year for this to play out, but I definitely think that we have room to run. And you have to keep in mind that, I mean, at the start of the year, Ethereum was if you just go back to Ethereum was trading at $1,400, and honestly, at the first of the year, the actual, December of last year, it was at $700. So this looks pretty bullish to me. And we got a lot of clean sky up here. I see people saying Ethereum to 8, Ethereum to 10. I personally don't see why not. On my chart, I have this descending trend line here. I have this ascending trend line on the bottom, descending on the top. It's basically a bull flag. It actually looks really similar to the IWM, kind of, in terms of like they're both very large bull flags that just broke out. So I'm going to keep adding to my Ethereum position this week, next week, pretty much all the way until the end of the year. If we do see 8,000, 10,000, I am pretty tempted to pick up a whole coin. I don't like to make big purchases all at once. I like to average my way into my position. But I feel so good about the future of crypto. And if I play that primarily as a trade, I think that, rarely, I don't think in the history of Ethereum do we see like a double top as the end of a bull cycle. What is this? I'm not buying it. From what I see on this chart, this little run up here 4 years ago, and we know that the crypto bull cycle happens every 4 years. If you just start from here, when Ethereum was $7, this run up to $300, $400, and then this little coiling, I'll make the candles bigger. So this little coiling right around here before we broke out, and then we went from, what is this, 360 up to 1,400, an increase of 283%. This little part right here looks pretty similar to this run up and then this coiling underneath this all-time high. Because remember, at the time, this was the all-time high right here. So this looks pretty similar to me. And I actually, if I take this spot here, I do want to draw a descending trend line. Doesn't really work because you can see this. Oh, it would be from here. From here, and then, Actually, it does kind of work. A little bit. Let's see. Broke out from here. That was the breakout here. Corresponds. Yeah. This break here and this break here. I don't see why you could not be looking at something like that. 8,000, 10,000. So the more I talk about it, I'm probably just going to buy some more. I should just buy some more right now. Or I'll just buy some more right now. So I'm going to buy Yeah. I've convinced myself now. I'm going to buy 200 more, and then I will just continue buying. It's going to raise my average, but I'm feeling pretty bullish, so. Alright. Bought that. The last thing I'll go over is Bitcoin on 19 minutes. Alright. Let's see. Okay, so for Bitcoin, this chart is a lot cleaner. This will be pretty easy for me to go through. This is the weekly again. I'm using the weekly time frame. So you have this massive descending trend line on the RSI here. You have this break right here. That corresponds with, the price was around 40,000. And that's when, right when this broke is not too far from when the MACD switched back to green. If you bought on this first green bar here, confirmation of a crossing, you would have bought at 50,000, and right now you would be up about you'd be up about 18%. That's pretty good. But as you can see, we're kind of sitting right here at like where the last all-time high was. And what I could see happening is we came up here, we came down, we come up here, we come back down. So if I draw another, like, resistance, kind of honestly exactly where we're sitting, 61,000. First of all, if we get a close above this, last doji right here, so we close above 64,000 on the weekly, that would definitely be bullish for me. But I think what we could do, this is a little trend line I have drawn here. So if I extend it a little bit, a few things could happen. You could either come back down and touch this trend line around 54,000 and then go back up. I think that might be a little bit shallow, but it's totally possible. Or what you could do is, if this plays out a little longer, you could retest this upper trend line from the top, somewhere around, still sitting around 50,000. I think 50,000 is going to be a good buy point. You have this swing high right here at 52. So that could be a good spot to bounce. 52 puts you right at this resistance, which would now might be support. Puts you right around here, 52, right around this area where you would expect to bounce from this trend line, this trend line. So I'm not going to be buying. I guess I could buy a little bit more Bitcoin right now. But what I do want is to wait for a buy somewhere under 54,000. Hopefully. And that pretty much sums it up for Bitcoin. So that's the charting section. And my plan will be every day to kind of go over my portfolio and then also do some updates on my charts. Probably, maybe not updates on my charts daily, although I don't have that many things in my portfolio that I couldn't do daily, so I probably will. But that's it. I'll probably try to get them in under 10 minutes for each video, because now it's just a quick update. I don't have to go through it as many things now that you guys have seen the whole chart. So anyway, that's the wrap up for the charting part of the video. That's obviously not AMC, the rest of my positions. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.